Namaskaram. Welcome to session 2 of yoga therapy in the IYA online Gurukulam. I'll start with a prayer to Patanjali and our teacher. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya vaidyakena yogakarottam Ravanam Munam Patanjalim Ranjaliranatosmi Avarushakaram Shankachakra Asidharanam Sagasrashira Samshetam Pranamami Patanjalim Srimate Anantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha Shri Krishnavadisha Kishwarabhyam Sambrata Chakrankana Bharyasaram Shri Mudnarankendra Yatau Samarbitaswam Shri Krishnamaya Guruvaryami Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatataraha Krutodayam Yogadharyan Krishnamariyan Guruvaryamaham Krishna Suri Daya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimati Katanatharyam Vandegam Yogadeshikam Shri Guru Namaha. In the first session, I covered on some important concepts and principles based on which yoga therapy is applied or application of yoga therapy takes place. I talked about the origins. I also talked about the references at the Yoga Sutra, at Yoga Pratipika and other things. And I said the human anatomy is looked at basically from the point of view of the soul and the Prakriti, that is Purusha and Prakriti, soul and body as well as the mind and senses together. Which is the most important. And about the most important point is about Prana. Incidentally, there are also important ideas like the Panchamaya model, which I did not specifically talk about. The Panchamaya model, which is from the Veda, is also largely used as a part of the study of human anatomy, which is Annamaya, the physical body, Pranamaya, which is about prana, nourished by the prana, Manomaya, nourished by the knowledge, Vijnanamaya, our individual identity, Anandamaya, about the emotional structure. But this itself is separate, and I do not propose to cover them separately now. I am going to talk on the applications, principle behind the applications. When I am going to talk on this, I need to give a small introduction about our teachers, Krishnamacharya and Deshkacharya. Because what we follow as the application of yoga therapy is what is handed down to us by their teachings. And the Krishnamacharya is considered as one of the foremost authorities on yoga therapy. So actually, in his own biographical sketches, we find that he had been doing the yoga therapy for quite a number of years, particularly when he wanted to go to Himalayas and learn more from the master Rama Mohan Brahmachari on the yoga therapy aspect. Prior to that, he has been practicing in a little way, he says. When it comes to the yoga shala at Mysore, he is supposed to be having a separate room in which he is doing consultation and giving yoga therapy to all those who have come there separately for therapy purposes. As far as our teacher Deshkacharya is concerned, I have heard him saying that his interest in yoga is based on his seeing the work of his father, Krishnamacharya, in treating people with illnesses. He used to wonder how his father, whom he considered to be a Vedic scholar, has been working on therapy aspects with probably no formal medical background. And it is only when he saw him working with a foreign lady who had been having insomnia problem, which was cured by the yoga therapy given by his father and teacher Krishnamacharya, that he got interested. And he learned everything from his father completely for 30 years. And that is what he has passed it on to his students, and which is followed in the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram in a traditional way. Now, the therapeutic aspects of yoga are followed in a particular way in the application at the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram. As far as I am concerned, I myself have been having 4 decades of experience in the yoga therapy, as my teacher put me on into teaching therapeutical yoga in the beginning itself. But we used to do under his guidance completely for a longer time to come. Okay, let us take up the idea of how therapy is applied. Yoga is applied in therapy. And as I told you, yoga and Ayurveda are very close in this, even at the diagnosis level, the 3 doshas, etc. Now, there is a concept called Heyam, Hetu, Hanam, and Upaya. This is called Vyuha. Vyuha means arrangement. And this is followed both in Ayurveda and in yoga. What does this Vyuha mean? It means Heyam means that which is to be avoided, but that is symptom. For our purpose, we will take it as symptom. Hetu means cause. What is the cause of this symptom? The cause of this illness, which is given in the form of a symptom. Hetu, cause. Hana means goal. Goal is generally relieving the illness, but there will be something more which we can see. The goal. And Upaya means the tools, the path, the tools that are used. This is like the Vyuha. And they have the link. Same system is followed in Ayurveda also. Now, when it comes to the symptoms, there are more than one way of understanding the symptom. So let us first take up the symptom part of it. How do we go about it? We of course are trained in yoga therapy. The therapists are trained to take the pulse, look at the vitiation of the Kapavada Pitta, but that is not enough. So we start with a procedure called a consultation first. The consultation has 3 segments: Darshanam, Sparshanam, Prashanam. Darshana means to see. When I want to see someone who is there, I will have to see the physical structure basically. What is that I see in the physical structure is the basically alignment of the body, how they are distributed all over the body, the muscles, where there are excess blood, where the way in which the spine is structured, whether there is a kyphosis, whether there is a lordosis. So sometimes even scoliosis. So what is the structure of the spine, what is the structure of the person is the first darshana that we do. Then we even make markings of that. Then we sit down with the person and take the pulse. And the pulse can be taken at more than one places to see how the gati of, it is not simply when we take the pulse, it is not simply to understand only the pulse rate, it is also there. But we are also trying to look at the Pitta, Vata, Kapas as to how they are at that particular point of time. The most important point is the Prashna. Prashna means we ask questions and we find out a lot of important things. And it includes starting with the basic idea how the person's daily activities are, how the sleep is, how the digestion is, and then we ask questions like how the concentration of the person is, how the emotional status of the person. All this prashna part is very, very important to understand. See, that is how I told you in the beginning of this lecture that we are looking at the Panchamaya itself completely. Annamaya, Pranamaya, when I see the pulse, I can see the Pranamaya aspect even. Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya when I ask questions. So the five are being seen in the three aspects of the consultation. Consultation is a fairly long procedure. It may even take half an hour or 45 minutes. Now, also the person is asked to do certain demo of postures. Like all the person will be asked to lie down, do some breathing, find out the breath rate, and then move certain parts of the body to see how the stiffness of the muscles are, and when the person moves, find out whether there are any pain in any part of the body, in any of the movements or any postures. And our discussion will center around how the person's emotional status is, particularly when the person is under stress. Even at the point of time when we are meeting, how the person's stress levels are, how the person can handle it. So this is the first part. Here we are noting down the symptom, and the symptom as given by the person is taken. Also we look at the pulse and other things to see certain other symptoms that we are able to see at the person's level from the therapist angle. So the aim is seen, noted down. The hetu part that is the most important point to be arrived at. What are the causes? The cause could be at some maya, like at the physical level, and it can emanate into manomaya. Sometimes at the manomaya level, when person is under great stress, it can go up to the physical level, giving out in the terms of back pain and all that. Neck pain, particularly, even modern psychology says, when a person is under great stress, it is expressed through the severe neck pain. Now, trying to find out the cause of that is most important. So we set a goal. We set the goal to say that this person should get relieved of the symptom, should get relieved of the various, here the symptoms mean also the various readings that we get. For example, apart from having a headache, a reading in the blood pressure, a higher reading is always a symptom. No, it is an expression. Various readings. So we should try to bring down those symptoms completely. It's called a shamana. Then we will go for cleansing shoga. Now, after going into the symptom and the cause, to find out how the cause is, what should be the goal? Now comes the idea of the tools. In employing the tools, the system is looked at as a holistic one. When the system is not looked at in a truncated way, because modern science has various ways of therapeutic application. They specialize on the basis of certain parts of the body themselves and some segments of the body. They also specialize on the basis of illness. But when it comes to application of yoga therapy, particularly in this tradition, we don't go on the basis of the disease or illness. It is not illness-centric or disease-centric, but is individual-centric. And we do on a one-on-one basis only. That is the most important point to be understood. So now when it comes to application, what is that we should be careful about? Which is the most important thing that our teachers have taught to see. Whether we give any relief to the person in terms of removal of illness or not, we should not introduce illness to the person or to make the symptoms more. Is it possible that will it happen? Is there any side effect through yoga? Yes, there are negative effects by doing yoga wrongly. Even Hatha Yoga Pratipika says, Pranayamena yuktena sarva roga kshayo bhavet ayutta abhyasa yogena sarva roga samudbhava. What does it mean? This sloka says, when you apply pranayama, of course, when it says pranayama, it also includes other like asana and dhyana, which I will explain. Sarva roga shayo bhavet. They are all coming down. Sarva, all roga. But ayutta, yukta abhyasa, a proper application. Improper application, which leads to improper practice, will be leading to all diseases. Sarva roga samudbhava. And it gives a list of the illnesses also. Hikka, swasa, like that it gives, which is mostly asthma, and in fact ear pain, a pain in the eyes, pain in the head and all that. So, improper application will lead to problem. That is why we need to be very careful in the application of the tools of the yoga. So, when it comes to tools, it is a basket of tools. It is not only one tool. Because the human system acts in a holistic way. Even if you take a modern medicine for that matter, often we have found out they say that a medicine which was invented for a particular purpose is supposed to be giving a relief for another illness also. So the human system works as a total. So the holistic idea is, when I apply the tools of yoga for a therapy for a particular illness, it works on the system at all the Panchamaya level. And hence, bringing relief at the Annamaya level should not give a problem at the Manomaya level. So we should be very careful in dealing with it in a holistic way. So let us look at certain individual aspects of the tools, how they can be used. When it comes to the application of tools, I was talking about the precautions, which is the most important point. In fact, the Hatha Yoga Pratipika to quote says that it is because how the rogas illness come on account of air. Pavanasya prakopaha. Pavana means air, wind. Prakopa means vitiation. So, the wind vitiation is not the only point here. It is the vitiation of the prana itself, because it is the carrier. The pavana, the wind is the carrier of prana. So, we should be very careful in the application. Let us look at what carefulness, let us look at what is the carefulness to be followed, how do we follow it in our system. Let us take the asana. As I told you, it's a holistic one. When we are giving a holistic package where there will be asana, pranayama and dhyana together. Maybe it is developed. In the beginning, we may not immediately give dhyana, but largely there will be asana and pranayama. So, what is that we are looking at from the point of view of the role of asana in the yoga therapy? The role of asana in yoga therapy is to bring an alignment at the level of the human body. The wrong alignment is the cause of the illnesses. In fact, when the body is tilted towards various parts which are properly aligned along the spine, there can be a lot of pressure that can happen on the internal organs also. It could be the cause. A lot of, particularly on account of the gravitational pull, when there is no excess blood in the stomach, we get so many other issues. So now the application of the asana is to be based on the individual's body position. So the asana is divided into various segments. What is possible by the person to do, and what is the goal to which the person should be taken. The person having stiffness, we don't insist on the person doing the classical way of doing the posture. It may damage. For example, if someone is not able to do a posture without bending the knee, the Uttanasana, Padahastasana, we don't insist on the person doing it. We will ask the person to bend the knee and reach the posture. Let us see what is the principle behind it. The principle behind this is called form versus function. The postures, or for that matter, the tools, including even Dhyana, there is a form in which it is given. This form has a particular function. So let us take a teacup. There is a form in which the teacup is there. It is done in a way that we should be able to take tea in that, as opposed to a saucer, which has a different function. So when every posture has a certain function, when we bend forward, we see that it works on the abdomen. In fact, it works on the lower abdomen, which is the forward bend posture. Back arches work on the chest. Ultimately, we need to do, and postures are to be done with breathing in this tradition. They are done with breathing. So we have a way of aligning the breath and the movement and the postures. So when we do a back arch, we inhale. When we do a forward bend, we exhale. When we do an exhale, we exhale. When we do a twist, we exhale. Inversion is a bit different. So, based on the spine movement, the postures are also divided. But in therapeutic purposes, we cannot simply start on any posture. We have to be very careful to see that the person does not get a pain. For example, if someone has got a severe back pain, we don't immediately start with the standing posture, and we will make the person to lie down, do some lying postures where there is no pain, and then move the body, use the breath. When we are using the breath and move the parts of the body, what are we doing? We are making a prana chalanam. Actually, it is the prana that starts moving into various segments. In fact, if you do proper breathing, which is taught first. First, what is taught is a proper breathing. How to contract the abdomen on exhale, how to release the abdomen, the diaphragm comes down on inhale. If this is properly done and synchronize the breath and the movement as well as in state, it is the prana chalana that takes place. Using the prana chalana, we take care of the therapy aspect of it. So, largely when there is a structural issue like back pain, neck pain, there is more emphasis on movement at those parts without hurting, and see to it that those parts are relaxed and there is a prana chalanam there, so that the therapeutic aspect is taken care of. Now, when it comes to other aspects, the movement of the body and state also helps in getting the proper breathing. So we can increase the breath rate by doing the postures. Now let us come to, so basically using the posture is largely to have alignment at the body level, to even work on those places where there has been some damage, but that is to be done within the pain zone. There should be within the pain zone, but at the same time, there should be some amount of a work that can happen there. Breath will decide whether we are damaging the body or not. We should not go up to the level of creating a pain. That is where there will be a difference between moving the body without even looking at the breath or without looking at any aspect. Here, breath will decide whether there is any damage that is being done or not. Now, when it comes to the Prana Pranayama, which is the most important part of it, it goes like that. Actually, if we take the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, in the second chapter, there is a large amount of ideas about how the Kumbhakas, they call it as Kumbhakas, which are helping in the three doshas, the containment of the three doshas. I told you in the first session that it is a vitiation of the three doshas, which is called as illnessia. Dhatu, Rasa, Karana, Vaishnavi. Now, Dhatu is about the three doshas. Ayurveda talks about the three doshas. Now, when certain pranayamas are done, they bring down the doshas. For example, the kapha part of it, kapha when the pranayama called Ujjayi is done. Ujjayi is done. Ujjayi is where there is a throat focus with a sound inhaling through both nostrils and doing a kumbhaka, after which there will be an exhalation through the left nostril, which is the classical style as given in the Hatha-yoga Pratipika. But this has to be adapted depending on the individual. But we will use the form, modify the form to get a function out of it. We have various ways of modifying it. We may not insist on the person to hold for a longer time, but we will insist on the person to use the throat focus and to exhale through alternate nostrils or both nostrils and get the same function out of this. So, Ujjayi is a Kapahara and Shitali is a Pittahara. Shitali is done with the tongue which is curved and inhaled through the tongue line. And after that there will be a hold and there will be an exhalation through both the nostrils. Here also some modifications will have to be done. And when we do Surya Vedana, according to Hatha-yoga Pratipika, it is a Vatahara. Surya Vedana is classical style is right nostril inhale, hold maximum, left nostril exhale. But the hold cannot be done by everyone. So we modify it and get the function out of it. So when it comes to dealing with the three doshas, we can use the pranayama. Also, pranayama is done in a way in the beginning that the malas are to be removed. As we do the pranayama, the malas are taken away. In fact, removal of the malas itself can result in the illness going away. After all, illness is only an expression of the malas from the body, toxin. So, most important point is pranayama has a very great role using the human system itself, that is using our own fire. How it happens? Our fire is near our neighbor, it is upward, the malas are down below in the apana region. Every time we inhale, the fire is taken down, it is held, it is apana region, the malas in the apana region are burnt out, exhale brings it out. It is a cyclical function. So pranayama itself can help in removal of the toxins and malas and illness. The three pranayamas of the Artha with the modification can be used to bring down any vitiations that are there in the three doshas. And most important point to be noted is at the gunas level. When it comes to gunas, that is why when it comes to particularly the mind, dhyana and all, we are looking at the gunas. Is there any connection between yoga therapy and gunas? Directly, indirectly it comes through the doshas, but directly there is a connection. According to Yoga Acharya, Krishnamacharya, it is a vitiation or excess of the rajas and tamas which is responsible for illnesses. In fact, it is the sattva guna which is responsible for curing, healing. So, when we are dealing at the level of the gunas, we are trying to put down the excess rajas, excess tamas through the application of asana, pranayama and dhyana. Now, let us look at the role of pranayama. Even pranayama can help. For example, when we apply the Brahmana type of pranayama, we are dealing with the excess of tamas, it removes. When there is excess rajas, excitement, agitation, it is a longer exhalation. In fact, in the first chapter of the Yoga Sutra itself, the Sutra says, Prachartana Vidaranabhyam va pranasya. It is, as I told in the first session, there are 9 tools which are given there itself, of which 7 are important. And it starts with Ishvara Pranidhanatva. And looking at the Japaha Tadartha Bhavana, which is a form of meditation, Japa type of meditation, which removes the vyadi, antaraya. So, Prachartana Vidaranabhyam va pranasya is about the use of how exhalation, hold up the exhalation can help. In a similar way, inhale, hold up, inhale has to be also used. Now, when it comes to Dhyana, as it is stated in the first chapter, in this tradition, largely the japa type of Dhyana is used. The choice of mantras are very important, with nyasas and with the Purvanga, Pradhananga, and Uttaraga. A structural way of doing Dhyana is also an important tool in yoga therapy. In fact, we have found that yoga therapy becomes holistic only when you use with the Dhyana as a whole. In fact, when we combine Asana, Pranayama and sound, Dhyana aspect will come itself. But we can also go through a process of sitting down and doing a japa, which will be a Dhyana as a tool in the yoga therapy. My personal experience has been that I have found that students have told me that when they do the Dhyana, they have come out of a lot of habits which they have been having over a period of time. It works at a very, very subtle level. So it changes the habits. It can structurally modify. Now, before I close up, I want to tell you, how do we know whether a person's illness has been cured? Is it simply because the various range of readings have come down? They are not enough. The person, according to the first chapter of the Yoga Sutra, there are 4 symptoms for the illness itself. The antaraya, they are dukkha, daurmanasya, angam ajayatva, swasa prashvasa. The person has to have completely rid of all the 4. Not only one or 2. The person is rid of the suffering, daurmana, negative thinking, angam ajayatva. The person can hold the body properly, and swasa prashvasa. The breath has become quieted and it can be handled. All the 4 symptoms have also to be removed apart from that. And the expression, Hatha Yoga Pratipika talks about the result of the Hatha Yoga, which is also something like what therapy can do, yoga therapy can do. Vapukrusatvam, the body becomes lean. Vadane prasannata, the body, the face becomes prasanna, very pleasant. Nadasputatvam, the sound, the voice becomes better. Nayaneshi nirmale, the eyes are very clear. Arogata, there is no roga body. And the deepanam, Agni deepanam, the fire is so good that everything that is taken is digested properly. There are no manas left out. So, yoga therapy, that is a very holistic one. And when applied properly, it will work on the whole system. In fact, in today's condition, it is integrated therapy that is followed. Even in Krishnamacharya Yoga Mantra, we follow a system of integrated therapy. Where somebody is going through a therapy in the modern science, allopathy or Ayurveda, we also give yoga. And they go together. And even the practitioners of allopathy and Ayurveda recommend it in all things. Because they remove all the impurities, the medicines that are taken by them gets absorbed properly and give an effect. So with this, we can say that yoga as a therapy can directly work and also aid in the therapeutic process and bring a swastha to the person. After all, the swastha means to have a complete illness-free system. Let me end this session with a prayer from the Vedic training which talks about the swastha. Bhadram karni vishnu deva bhadram pashyemakshabhyajatra sthirairangai tushuvagam sastanubhi yashema devahitai yadayu swastina indro dhashava स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु शांति शांति शांति. Thank you.